I don't know if it should be legal anywhere, but that's my personal opinion.
I think that any marriage should be legal as long as you two love each other, and I don't think same-sex should be an issue or otherwise.
What about the idea of protection of children? Does that not a more difficult argument to meet?
Protection of children from loving, caring parents, many of whom can be gays and lesbians, many of whom can be single parents. I mean, you know, the whole argument around protection of children from what? From a loving family home, which is what they are going to get. Now, admittedly, are there bad parents out there who are gay and lesbian? Absolutely, just as there are bad parents out there who are heterosexual. We are the same human beings, so to somehow reserve this, you know, procreative union as giving some magical cultural touchstone is really to ignore the realities of Canadian society.
Mm-hmm. Many people would argue that the court decision, which affirmed your right to marry, infringes on freedom of religion. What do you have to say about that?
Certainly, religions have always been free to decide who they marry and who they don't marry. No one has ever forced the Catholic Church to marry a divorced person. Nobody has ever forced a synagogue to marry a mixed religious couple. The religions are free, and the legislation and the courts have affirmed that they are still free to refuse to marry same-sex couples. And in fact, if anybody was to try and force one of those groups to marry a same-sex couple, I would be one of the first people to stand up and defend their right to say no. That being said, they cannot take that religious dogma and push it into the public sphere around civil marriage. The state can't enforce one religion's right to say no to everybody else because of their beliefs. You can say no in your own religious home, you just can't take that into the public sphere.
Well, in fact, Bill C-38 incorporates that exemption, doesn't it, where it says that, yes, the marriage definition will be changed to include a couple of, doesn't matter what gender, but it does say that churches or religious people can refuse to perform such marriages. So does that not take care of it?
Well, it certainly does, and I mean, even when the legislation was put before the Supreme Court to ask for their opinion on it, the court even affirmed that while that passage is redundant, that the same constitutional freedoms that give Kevin and I the right to marry already protect religions. It was just an added statement by the government that religions will not be forced to do anything that violates their religious beliefs. So, you know, this is not really anymore a matter about freedom of religious or religious rights being imposed upon. And I think that's simply, you know, one of the tactics tried to use to make this again into the, as we discussed, gays versus God.
So where do you think we're going to be in Canada 20 years from now, Joe?
People will be saying, what was the big deal about? People will not believe that we actually spent all of this time, energy, and really had all of these, you know, negative, hostile feelings. We will realize that the sky hasn't fallen, that gays and lesbians have, you know, formed productive families, that we're a richer and better society for it. And, you know, we'll simply keep going on, and hopefully, having had this, you know, vigorous debate, will have come to live together, even those who disagree with same-sex marriage, in respectful disagreement, and we will all be getting along. That's my fondest hope.
Let's hope. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you for joining us.